What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot. Check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. 'Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Top 10 Tuesday in the Doghouse. And yes, we have a Top 10 for you today. And yes, it even has 10 things on it. I mean, there's about a million things on it. But I boiled it down to 10 things. I'm going to need your contribution a little bit later on. But with the news that Ric Flair will climb into the ring in July in Nashville at the age of 73. Yeah, I get it. It's wrestling, and I don't know. Smokey Mike thinks that it might be some ceremonial thing. You know, I don't know. But it's still, to me, going to be sad to see. You know what I mean? I mean, seeing the old dude just climb through the ropes would be sad to see. But maybe it'll be glorious. I don't know. But I thought, you know what? I'd use that news that 73-year-old Ric Flair was going to give it another go. That I thought maybe we'd hit on 10 guys that looked ridiculous at the end. Maybe we'd hit on 10 guys that looked ridiculous at the end of their careers. I got a few. I'm going to toss out about 10 of them. And then I'll let you fill in the blanks on others. I'll throw about 10 in there. Don't put me on a list. I don't belong on this list. I'm young for this business still. Don't put me on that list. All right, so I'm well-seasoned. Let's just say I'm well-seasoned. Look, if you know where you want to go, you can call the show now at 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977. You can text the show at 732-9TA-SHOW. At 732-982-7469. It's a great way to communicate with us. My Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show on Twitch and on Facebook at 97.7 ESPN or on our YouTube channel at 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Like and subscribe there. Get notifications. Just go to 97.7ESPN.com. You get links to all of that stuff. And while you're at it, get the app. All right? The app is critical. You can find a link to Zone 2 and Zone 3 and Zone 4 as well. All our ultimate streaming channels for more great programming. Thousands of people have downloaded the app. You need to have the app as well. Braves are back in business tonight in Milwaukee after dropping a 1-0 game last night, wasting a great outing by Ian Anderson. All right, coming up on a radio show today, Buckhorn Bucks football coach Matt Patterson will join us. Now, the Bucks got off to a 5-2 start last season. They stumbled in to finish 5-5 in Patterson's first season, but he's building something out there in Newmarket. It's a new day in Newmarket. There, Coach, you can have that one. There's just a little gift. Hey, Grizz is shaking his head. It's a new day in Newmarket. Not Grizz. And they'll have a new radio home as well as a part of our high school streaming network. So, Bucks fans, rally behind that if you want. Then at the top of the 11, Josh Ward from the Sports Animal up in Knoxville will be in. I've known Josh for nearly 15 years. He covers the entire SEC, but we'll get his thoughts on the continuing evolution of the NIL situation. The NCAA has told the schools, you better follow your state laws. And the states have responded by loosening up the laws as much as possible. Pretty much they've said, you know how they have a speed limit? Each state, 70 miles an hour? Basically, regarding NIL, in relation to a speed limit for the roads, it would be like saying, keep it on the pavement. There you go. There's your law. Just keep it on the pavement if you want, unless you got big knobby tires, then you can go off-road. In other words, there is basically no rule. There's no rule of law here. I mean, there's no consistency. Certainly there's none of that. I mean, we need to have parity, right? Coach Saban, we got to have parity. College football needs parity. Otherwise, you have the same team winning all the time. You'd have like 3 teams always going to the playoff. Anyway, we'll get into that. And the line between collectives and boosters, I mean, it couldn't be more blurred, right? I mean, how is a collective not a booster club? What the hell is the difference between a collective and a booster club? A collective, a group of guys and gals, business people getting together to help fund athletes. But we're not a booster club. By the way, Bijan Robinson, the outstanding Texas Longhorn running back, he's endorsement deal, $150,000 cars. Do they expect to sell off of that deal? How many elite players do they expect to lure to Austin with that deal? Because that's what that's about, right? I mean, you got a player driving around in a Lambo, taking pictures in his Lambo. All that is a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old trying to influence 17-year-olds to go to Austin. You could be driving that Lambo. Quinn Ewers, you remember him. He was the quarterback out of Texas, the state of Texas. Would have been the number 1 player in this past season's recruiting cycle. He's the kid that passed up on his senior year in high school to go to Ohio State and enroll early. He got $1.4 million in NIL money, never took a snap for Ohio State. Just went to Ohio, left his high school, went to Ohio State, enrolled early, didn't burn up any eligibility, never took a snap, got $1.4 million. Then he transfers back to Texas. He gets more with that. By talent or by their NIL contract? I mean, do you got to play him? Do you expect to play him? Where is a 19-year-old's head at? If I were to give Grizz $1.4 million, he's like a 33-year-old man. Or 30 anyway, or 32, or whatever he is. If I were to give Grizz $1.4 million, he's not even showing up tomorrow. Not like he's going to show up tomorrow and, give it the old college try to produce the show and make sure that we sound good on the air. Be like, he'd be going Kyrie Irving on me. Be throwing double bullets at me and be the end of that. And he's a grown-ass man. You give $1 million to a 19-year-old kid, how do they think? Think about it. How do you stay motivated at that age? $1.5 million. $1.5 million feels like $100 million, I would think, at that age. Speaking of quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson is taking the Browns offense to the Bahamas for team building. Oh, is that what they call it now? I mean, look, I don't want to do massage jokes every time Deshaun Watson does something, but come on, this stuff almost writes itself. I mean, you got to be kidding me. He's taking them to the Bahamas. Is Baker on this trip or not? Taking the entire offense. The offense, get on the plane. Not so fast, Baker. Everybody that's making the trip, step forward. Not so fast, Baker. The NFL is meeting with Watson in Texas this week as well. Maybe they're getting closer to resolution on any possible suspension. I don't know. But with Baker, I mean, what happens? He only gets his $18 million this season if he shows up for camp. Not if he's holding out. If he's a holdout, he doesn't get paid. He wants that $18 million. He's got to show up. I mean, what kind of a locker room is that going to be? Are they going to do something? They got to cut him. They got to do something? They got to tell him stay away and we'll give you the money anyway? What if Deshaun Watson is clipped for like 10 games? Then what happens? Does Bake show up and compete with Jacoby Brissett? The NFL Network's Ian Rappaport continues to report that it may be Baker Mayfield's best play to just show up and compete. And it would be better for everybody. Can you imagine that? The dude gets there and starts slinging it all over the yard. They're 8-2 after a 10-game suspension. Baker Mayfield. I mean, would serve them. It would serve the Browns right for that to happen. And speaking of Houston, Mattress Mac is at it again in Houston. You know who Mattress Mac is down there, don't you? He's promising everyone who buys a mattress from him this summer that he will double their money back if the Astros win the World Series. So in other words, you buy a $1,500 mattress. That's about average for, high-end mattresses there. You buy a $1,500 mattress. Astros win the World Series, you get $3,000. So to cover his potential exposure, he's put $1 million on the Stros to win the series. Got 12-1. He bet $1 million on the Stros at 12-1. So if Houston wins, he pays out the customers, but he makes $12 million net on the bet. If they don't win, he's out $1 million. But how many mattresses did he sell? I mean, Ty Ballgame's about 650 mattresses. He's probably going to sell a couple of thousand mattresses. How many mattresses do you sell? It's a pretty cool deal. Over there in a little glass booth, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and keeping us on the air, answering the phones, thinking about athletes that just looked foolish at the end of their career wearing the wrong gear. Just the one and the only DJ Grizzy Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent.
Over the nonsense that keeps coming out of that situation. So
check this out. Kramer is sitting poolside in his backyard. Next to the, the nice outdoor furniture with the umbrella going and everything else. I mean, Kramer's living large. Good job by that dude, man. Yeah, on a Tuesday. On a top 10 Tuesday, man, living large. We got to do like the, top 10 backyard setups for listeners on a Tuesday top 10. We could roll with that. Playoffs are back tonight, Grizz.
Yeah.
East final in the NBA. Highly interested in this thing. Did I hear them say that Kyle Lowry is not playing out tonight for tonight's game? Whatever chance Miami has is shot without Kyle Lowry, right? I mean, they can't win without him. I don't know if they can win with him.
The Heat are, that's the thing about the Heat is how deep their bench has been. If they can have scoring outside their bench, if you can honestly just have Jimmy Butler go off and then have everybody else have a decent night. Bam Adebayo has been playing really well. I guess it depends on can Bam Adebayo really handle how much length and just how good that front court is for the Celtics, because they're really both teams are really deep and both teams are playing really well. I just think Miami is undefeated a lot of times when it comes to going down and playing in that city, and it's tough. But I could see Miami taking one from Boston in this first game for sure.
Well, that would be huge. If they could get off to a good start.
If
there.
Tyler Hero can,
they are the home team,
yeah.
Right? They are the higher seed. Boston's the favorite, but they are definitely the higher seed. So, if Boston walks in there and wins this game, it becomes a real problem for Miami.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think the issue is with Boston is if Tatum has an off night, then you're going to have the rest of Boston having an off night, because it just seems, unless, I just don't know. I just don't see it. But if Al Horford can have a night like he did the other night, like a young Al Horford again, Marcus Smart maybe do something. I think it's going to be real. Jaylen Brown. I think it's going to be really hard for them. They haven't had to play. They've been resting, so they haven't had to have the grinding games like the Celtics have had in these this last series. So, I think Miami would be. I think I would give money on Miami, especially on this first game.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. Miami. I mean, think about tonight in Miami, right? Because that one's tonight in Miami, right? Am I wrong or am I wrong? I might be wrong. I mean, sometimes I just make this stuff up. But that one is in Miami tonight, right? Or is that tomorrow? No, that's tonight at Miami.
No, tonight. Yeah, tonight is Eastern. Tomorrow's Western.
Right. So this is where I'm confused about. The Florida Panthers are tonight as well in Miami, hosting Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So they got different buildings. I mean, you always think of the hockey and the basketball having the same building. Obviously, they have different buildings there. I think one of them's in Lauderdale. Is that what I think or in Miami Gardens or something like that? I don't know where one, but they must obviously they don't have the same building. And look at, I mean, wouldn't you think that there are fans of the Heat that are also fans of the Panthers? That people that would want to go to both games. I mean, Miami's the epicenter of the sporting world tonight. When you've got the Heat hosting the Celtics, and the Panthers hosting the Lightning tonight. Am I making that up? That's tonight.
No,
that's
you're
tonight
not.
as well.
No, you're not. But the Panthers have been playing in the FLA Live Arena, and I get it. I don't.
They got two different arenas in Miami.
Like they have the FLA Live Arena in Sunrise, Florida, Sawgrass Mills,
which is just outside of Miami,
and then the FTX Arena,
which is downtown.
So there. My thing is, I think everyone's going to the Heat game. I think there's going to be a good bit of Panthers. Like obviously, it's a home game.
The Panthers game will be sold out.
It's going to be sold out.
There's no doubt that the Panthers game is going to be. There'll be 18,000 at
it's
both
Miami
games.
though. I think they're going for both. But you're going to see more Heat. You're going to see more coverage of the Heat, especially even though aren't the games on ESPN? Like aren't the hockey games tonight?
The hockey tonight is on TNT.
Okay. We'll see. Then you're definitely going to see more love for the Heat all over ESPN.
And the basketball is on ESPN tonight.
Yeah.
Well, but on TNT, the love will be.
I get it. It's the Florida Panthers. Like I get it. They're really good, but like when we're talking about the Miami Heat, this is a Miami Heat team. Miami is just they're going to be all over the Heat. I feel like.
I'm just saying. I bet there's fans that would go to both. I bet there are fans that are heavy rollers that'll go to both.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Easy.
And I guarantee you that of all the fans that they have in Miami, they got to split their attention now. The games are at the same time. You got the Miami Heat game and the Florida Panther game. You got the Boston Celtics, who have huge fan base in the Miami area.
Oh, and they'll travel too. Yeah, you'll see green. You'll see some green.
I don't know. There'll be some, but in both cases, both teams limited. Like you have to get the tickets, you have to have a zip code that is within the 5-county area around Miami. So, like, if you're a Boston fan, you had to buy your tickets from secondary market from somebody that bought the tickets who lives in the Miami area. They did it. They do this now. This is the new thing. In these places where they don't have their own fans, they do this to kind of restrict the other fans from being able to get in the building.
Do that in Atlanta more often. They should do that for all Atlanta fan bases.
Then nobody would be.
My goodness, nobody
would be.
Nobody would show up to the game.
But for playoff games, they do that stuff. They've done that with the Preds. They did it to restrict the Detroit Red Wing fans from coming down and buying up all the tickets, and the Chicago Blackhawk fans from buying up all the tickets in the playoffs. They said you had to have I'm going to tell you something. They did it with the Titans against the Bengals. You couldn't buy a playoff ticket to the Titans-Bengals game unless you had a Nashville area zip code, including North Alabama zip code. Now, Bengal fans still got in, but the way they got in was they were having people in these zip codes buy the tickets for them. Or they would, buy them. You'd have to buy them in the secondary or the tertiary market. I'm just saying. It's a big night. What I'm trying to say is it's a big night in Miami. Both teams will be sold out, and both teams will have watch areas outside the arenas with people watching the game. The thing I'm wondering is in my head, how many of the cities that have both the NBA and the NHL have two different buildings? You know what I mean? I don't know how many have. You don't have this issue anywhere. Boston plays in the Boston Garden, TD Garden's there. Now the Bruins are done, so they just put the court down, and that's the end of it.
Well, Rangers don't have to worry about any New York teams.
Rangers, they never have to worry about the Knicks playing at MSG in the playoffs, so they don't have that issue. Edmonton and Calgary don't have that issue. Golden State doesn't have that issue. I mean, what other town has two teams going? Dallas doesn't have that issue. Who am I missing? Am I missing anybody? I don't think there's
Atlanta doesn't anymore. Long time ago.
No, I mean in terms of this playoff.
Yeah. No, playoffs.
In this
no.
playoff,
Oh, yeah.
Denver doesn't have that issue. St. Louis doesn't have that issue.
Nobody.
The only town that is left in both the NBA and the NHL playoffs is Miami, and they happen to have two buildings. I mean, that's just wild. All right, let me slip Grumpy in here quick. Grumpy, what's going on?
Hey man, it's not wild. It's Minnesota Wild.
There you go, Minnesota Wild.
Hey,
and they didn't last either.
I got a statement and two questions. The statement is: did you see U.S. News and World Report's report this morning at 8 a.m.?
No.
They ranked Huntsville the #1 city in the country to live in.
Oh, really? I know we've been on that list in the top 10 before. I didn't realize it number one. Wow.
You're working in the market that's #1, baby.
Nice.
Hey, and I got two questions for you. This is a trick question. Fair warning. What Titans offensive lineman recently sold posthumously a painting for more than $13 million that is arguably the most iconic American painting ever painted? Titans offensive lineman.
Wait a minute. Who's dead? The lineman or the guy that did the painting?
The lineman.
A Titans offensive.
The lineman is the guy that did the painting.
Oh, the lineman did the painting. All right, and he's a former Titan. Or did you say Titans or Oilers? Titans.
Titans.
A Titans offensive lineman from the Titans or from the Tennessee Titans?
From the Titans NFL football program team.
I don't know. That's a great question. Who would it be? I don't know of anybody that's dead.
He painted Sugar Shack, the painting that did the credits on Good Times with those cartoonish figures dancing in a nightclub nightclub.
He must have been a New York Titans lineman then.
Exactly. That's the trick question. It's Ernie Barnes, and that painting, the Sugar Shack, just sold at Christie's, including commissions, $15 million to that painting.
Wow.
Yeah, 3-4 days ago. Yeah.
They were the AFL though then, so I don't know if I'd say NFL, but yeah, I get it. Yeah. Okay. And then my question, real quick here. I know you got to go. The Rangers had a delayed penalty, had possession of the puck. Yeah.
When the puck changes hands, does it instantly blow a whistle when the defensive team on a delayed penalty touches the puck? Does it end right there and then they have the penalty, or do they get a little possession?
No, if there's a penalty on the other team, you get to control the puck. You're right.
Okay.
And as soon as the other team touches the puck, then it becomes the whistle blows.
Yeah, that's my question.
That's
do they
a delayed
pull the goalie?
penalty.
Okay, that's it, brother.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate you. Yeah, that's a delayed penalty. All right, let's get a break. We are way over time, and we need to get to Coach Matt Patterson, so we're going to do that next right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again from Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates. Or if you need a new ride today, choose a Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicle. We have over 100 to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with our 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of George and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
Hey, North Alabama, this is Chuck Oliver. We've got college football all over the place, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
Where would this college be without football?
Listen to me weekdays at noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the show is brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental. You know what Valley Equipment Rental knows? They know what everybody else now knows, that Huntsville is the best place in the entire country to live. Reading this U.S. News World Report story on Huntsville, Alabama, being and it's the Huntsville Metro, being the best place to live in the entire country. I get that. I understand that. I'm looking through the article to see if it mentions, because of 97.7 ESPN, The Zone being, such a great radio station.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. And it might be part of it might be because we have our high school streaming network that we invented that is wildly popular now, so that might be part of it as well. And guess who's going to be a part of it this year? The Buckhorn Bucks. That's right. And joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline is Buckhorn football coach Matt Patterson in his second year. Coach, welcome in. How are you?
Good, Tom. How are you guys doing?
We are fantastic. You guys are in spring ball. I'm going to swing by today and catch some practice here in Newmarket. I got a saying for you. I don't know if you heard it in the opening of the show. It's a new day in Newmarket. That's what you tell your kids right now. I just made that up. I don't know why, but it came to me.
But that's pretty good. New day, new market. We kind of hung our hat a little bit on the win on Winchester Road.
That's good too. Win on Winchester is good. That would be a good thing. And that's part of this whole deal, isn't it? I mean, you guys had gotten off to a 5-2 start last year and kind of stumbled to the finish line, finished 5-5, but isn't part of building a program, this will be your second year, your second spring ball with these guys, part of it is teaching these kids the culture of winning. There hasn't been a ton of winning that's gone on out there over the years. There's been some great players and so on, but you almost got to kind of build a culture, get a couple of classes in there that don't know anything else other than expecting to go out and win a football game, right?
No doubt, Tom. Spring practice year one was a little bit of a struggle. New offensive schemes and defensive schemes was a learning curve for our guys. Offensively, we started catching our own in the last three games. We actually played a little bit better off this round, coaches knowing what's going on, the continuity of the way we practice. So I've been real pleased so far with spring practice. We're not nowhere near where we need to be, but the questions that we needed answered to going into spring, we feel like we've answered most of those.
Talk about the strategy of doing this now in May, and you've gotten some great weather for certainly for doing this. But Talk about doing it now. You've got the option as to whether or not you do the spring ball or whether or not you do the extra week in the summer going into the regular season. Why did you decide to do it now?
Well, I think, I'm a little bit of a traditionalist. My father was a coach for 30 years. And, again, you can answer a lot of questions in the spring, and you get an extra week. Those questions you get answered in a week or 2 weeks, and then you turn around and ready to play your first game. So I feel like we can go in now with spring, and we're only doing 8 days. We're not playing a game. We're just working on us because right now it's college recruiters are coming on our campus. College recruiters can come and watch our players practice now, to whereas if we did it in July, they can't see them and they can't evaluate them and they can't get their eyes on them. And I think that's really big. I mean, the days we've had a couple of guys that practice, and there's a little bit different tempo. There's a little bit different energy.
Yeah.
And I think that's big. But also, we've had a kid. We've had a couple of nagging injuries this spring, nothing major. But one kid's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. And if we did it in July, I just feel like spring practice is the way it needs to be. But at the same time, I feel like in the way that the sport is trending in the state, spring practice probably non-existent within the next 4 to 5 years.
I hate that. I hate that idea because, I like the rhythm of a spring practice, get these guys loosened up a little bit, do some insulation, get them thinking. They know what they need to do now to come back, in the summertime is in as best a shape possible and so on. Maybe they kind of learn a little something about themselves. And look, to a 16, 17-year-old kid, that summer camp is long. You know what I mean? It already feels like it's forever from the time you sign in to the time you play the first game, regardless of whether or not you scrimmage or whatever. And to me, it puts them a little closer to game time when that comes, when they come out, for summer practice. I love everything about it, and I love what you're talking about in terms of the insulation part of it. And if there is a nick or an injury, they do have time to recover. I think this is the way to go. I hope they don't take it away from you. Plus, you know what? It's not a terrible thing it's not an awful thing for your kids that aren't involved in spring sports or whatever. It's not an awful thing for you to kind of have them captive for a few days, you know what I mean? If you know what I'm saying,
it's been great, and I know at different places you battle baseball players play at shortstop to get the game over with. I'm a big believer in playing multiple sports just because of the competitiveness, and when they get back to that football and they get back, you name it.
That's interesting because you're, a relatively young guy, and a lot of guys don't get that. And a lot of fans would think, well, that coaches want to have them just specialize in their sport. They got to make a decision. Now, one of my sons, who was an outstanding baseball player, did make that decision after his sophomore year. He was a very good football player, but he was a great baseball player, and he just didn't want to risk injury at that point. And he just felt like he would be out there at spring ball, and if he was at spring football and the baseball team is over, I got to go. And you look at the kids that just got drafted into the NFL and things like that. It's okay for them to do different things. You burn a kid out sometimes if he's just a football player or just a basketball player all year round.
Absolutely. I think you only a kid once. You need to be able to, career's going to end. And for 95% of the athletes in high school, it's going to end at the end of their senior year of high school. Not everybody's going to play college football, and not all college athletes are going to play pros. You got to move on. And you got to go do something else. And for me, as a guy that couldn't get enough of it, wanted to continue being a part of the sport. Sport gave me a lot in my life, and coaching is a way for me to give it back. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure if I'm smart enough to do anything else. So
yeah.
You got to have a passion for something, and my passion is high school athletics, particularly football, and helping mold these young people into men of character down the road.
Buckhorn Bucks head football coach Matt Patterson with us here, and the other thing that you're dealing with at that school is if you go back to what the enrollment looked like there at the turn of the century, right? 2000, 2001, 551 kids. Now there's over 1,000. Think about how fast, really, over a 20-year period, the school has doubled. And that's one of the things that you're dealing with as well. This went from being basically a small school to now being a big school. And those growing pains, along with growing a program, you're dealing with a school that's twice the size it was just 20 years ago. You know, in the 20 years previous to that, they may have added 100 people. You know, now they've added double, over 500 people in that period of time. That kind of plays into the culture that you're trying to build there, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And like you just said, when you open the show, the Huntsville's number one place to live in America, according to the U.S. News and World Report today.
Yeah.
Well, Newmarket, Alabama is one of the best places to move into the Huntsville Metro right now financially. Houses are everywhere. You know, Legacy Homes, Woodland Homes, Lenore Homes has just bought Breland Homes out. All these places are coming here, and you know, Madison's Madison. You know, it's a special place. I lived there for 6 years, but at the same time, it's overgrown a little bit. It's overcrowded, and now things are coming this way. We have a Walmart, we have a Publix, we have an Aldi. We have all the things you wouldn't imagine what we have on Winchester Road till you take a drive and just come up the road. And there's beautiful places to live. You can be in Huntsville within 10 to 15 minutes. You know, it's coming. We've already received emails from several parents that have already bought houses that are moving to the area, and their children are wanting to join the football program during the summer. You know, a lot of places lose kids to attrition. We end up adding kids. I think we had 15 kids move to our school last year just to get into our area. Like right now, we got 80 varsity players going through spring practice. 40 freshmen finished spring 2 weeks ago. There's 72 middle school kids working out last night, 7th and 8th graders, and there's over 200 in our youth program. We got over 400 kids, which I consider our program because that's one of the things I want to do when I got out here was vertically align this place. From our youth league to the seniors in high school, everybody's wearing antlers on their helmet. Everybody's wearing the iconic Buckhorn helmet. Everybody's wearing blue and gold. Everybody wears the same type of uniforms. You know, that's special. There's not many places in Madison County that can do that.
Yeah.
And we can do that. We have our middle school campus is 15 steps from my front door of our field house. Our gym, I can be in the high school gym in 30 steps. So, like, you know, we have our hands on our kids every day, 7 through 12. And, you know, I'm not sure how many I'm not sure how many 6A, 7A high schools in the state can say they do that. Most high schools have two feeder schools, and, you know, we got one. That's huge for, you know, building a program, like you said, from, you know, last year was building a foundation. This year we're talking about, you know, sinking roots. And thinking them from 6 years old all the way up to the seniors in high school.
And it's, you know, it's like a college campus out there. It's like a small college campus when you go out there. The facilities are outstanding, getting better and better. You got the new big scoreboard up now at the football facility. You know, it's always been always really had good facilities out there, and they just continue to improve. And we're going to shine a spotlight on it as well this year as Buckhorn and the Bucks become prominently on display as part of our high school football streaming network on Zone 2 all year long, and select games over the air as well. You'll be part of the show. You'll be joining us every Wednesday on the Thom Abraham Show with your coaches segment as well. And we're really, really excited to bring Buckhorn into the fold, into the high school football network that we have put together here under the guidance, really, of Wes Neighbors. That he came up with the idea and said, go do this, and we built this thing, and it's going to be very, very exciting to be able to follow the Bucks all season long, and people all over the country, you know, not only in the area, but all over the country will be able to listen to Bucks football, watch the game, and hear our commentary as well if they're watching it on the video feed of the games. And it's a really nice schedule that you guys have set up this year. I think it's it's an opportunity here to continue to build on this program.
Sure, absolutely. We're excited about joining the radio. That's one of the things I really wanted to do when I got here was, you know, market and brand our program. I think every opportunity you get on the radio or get in the newspaper or television to talk about your kids and talk about your program, you do it. And like you just said, being all 10 games being broadcast on the app on Zone 2, and then our NFHS live stream will have you guys as well. It was a no-brainer when you guys approached us about joining the ESPN Zone family, and it was, you know, to me, like I said, it was a no-brainer. anything we can do to get us out there, because, you know, our goal is to be the premier football program in North Alabama. You know, I know that's a strong statement with the likes of the Muscle Shoals, the Hartzels, and James Clemens, et cetera. But that's got to be your goal. I mean, you can't be satisfied with being average. And you know, that's like our team breaks it down every day. We're now region champs. You know, we want to win our region. We want to go 1-0 every week. And then, like I tell the kids, when we get to the playoffs in November, we reset our goals. It starts over. It's a 1-week season from then on. It's that old survive and advance mentality. And, you know, that's kind of how we've approached things. And, you know, our kids have got to be climbers. We got to believe that we're going to win ball games. And we got to earn the right to win. We just can't go out there and roll your hat out there and say we're going to win because we're Buckhorn. We have to earn it. And I think our guys have paid a big price since January of trying to earn that right to take the next step with this program.
Well, and a big part of that, too, is the support that you get from the community, because when we did this deal with you guys, immediately you were able to go out and get support from the community and from the sponsors, and, you know, it makes sense on so many levels. And I think it sends a message. It sends a message to the community. It sends a message to the kids. There's going to be a select number of basketball games also that are going to be part of our high school network. And what it means is, you know what, you're important. You mean something. And it also resonates with the sponsors and the people who are involved, the parents, the families, and so on, that you guys are willing to make that investment, and the sponsors are willing to make that investment to bring, you know, Buckhorn athletics to prominence like this. So I think that's a big, important part of this.
You're absolutely right. Athletics is very important to our administration. I mean, Mr. Todd Marker, my principal, is a former basketball coach, won a state championship here as the girls basketball coach in the years past. It's important to him. The facilities and the way they look are important to him. Our athletic director, David Carroll, it's important to him as well. I've had tremendous support from our middle school administration about trying to bridge the gap between the two schools. The elementary print, the same thing's happening in basketball and baseball and softball and volleyball. I mean, athletics is a big part of Buckhorn High School, and really and truly, football is the one program that hasn't had just big time success in the last 15 to 20 years.
Mm-hmm. No, it's coming.
Hopefully that's going to change here sooner rather than later.
But you know why, Coach? Because it's a new day in Newmarket. That's why.
You're right.
It's changing.
You're right.
It's changing. You're going to win on Winchester because it's a new day in Newmarket. So
just come up Winchester Road, and like
boom.
I said, I've told parents, I said, there's no what you're going to get at Buckhorn High School. You're going to get you're going to get what you need at Buckhorn High School. It's good or better than what you're getting anywhere else.
Great point.
There's no reason to go out and transfer schools because you feel like this school gives you a better advantage. We got relationships with college football coaches here too. We're going to play a good schedule. Helena, Coach Richie Busby is going to come up here and play week 2. That game was originally supposed to try to be played at Birmingham and New Protective Stadium, and some things fell through with that. But we decided we're going to keep playing each other. We are the same demographic. They're a county school in Shelby County. I wanted our kids to play at Birmingham school. I wanted our kids to next year load up on the bus and travel to Birmingham for a game, because if you're going to make a run in 6A football, you got to go through Birmingham. The blue map, everything goes through Birmingham, and you got to prepare for that. And that's why we picked up Helena, and then Gadsden City's in our region. So back-to-back weeks right off the bat, we got week 1 and week 2, we got 2 really tough opponents that we have to be ready for, or we'll get embarrassed because they're great football programs.
Well, Coach, I tell you what, I look forward to seeing you out there at practice this afternoon. I'm going to swing by and catch some of that, and I appreciate you joining us. I look forward to the conversation all season long. And you know what they say, we love you here in Alabama. We love you winter tie. So just keep that in mind. I'm just saying.
We hope to win them all, Tom. So there ain't no time. We'll go for 2 before we tie.
There you go. I like that attitude. All right, Coach. We'll see you this afternoon.
Thanks, Tom.
Day 77 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs underway tonight. The Lightning at the Panthers in the East. Tampa Bay plus 140. Money line. Florida minus 160. 6.5 the total. In the West, the Blues at plus 180 at the Avalanche at minus 220. The over-under at 6.5. Kentucky Derby winner Rich Strike will not compete in this weekend's Preakness Stakes, meaning there will be no Triple Crown winner this year. Epicenter, the plus 125 favorite at Pimlico. Early voting plus 350 and Secret Oath plus 400. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. The Celtics a 1.5-point underdog at the Heat. The over-under set at 204. Tomorrow night, Game 1 in the West. The Mavericks plus 5 at the Warriors. 214.5 the set total.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
The Trash Pandas are back for 6 games at Toyota Field starting Tuesday, May 24th against the Tennessee Smokies. The week's promotions include an Izzy Wilson bobblehead giveaway on Tuesday, Armed Forces Night on Thursday, and a Trash Pandas camo cap giveaway on Sunday. Get your tickets for all the fun now at TrashPandasBaseball.com.
Let's rock it.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
You know, Woody says that was a great segment on Buckhorn. We all know about high school football. Top-level high school baseball is also a great sport to watch. We were just talking about that, weren't we, Grizz? At last week's staff meeting on Thursday, we were talking about baseball and And that'll be the next step, be adding some baseball to the mix as well down the road to our high school streaming network. And this is Buckhorn will be the first that gets in on the basketball end of things. We've had isolated basketball games in the past. We're doing a basketball game here and there and so on. But this year it looks like we're going to do probably 10 Buckhorn basketball games outside of doing the 10 Buckhorn football games plus the playoffs and so on. But yeah, down the road, I can see baseball being a part of this deal as well. We have outstanding baseball in North Alabama.
Oh, without a doubt. There's so many great teams. Even this, not just the 7A teams today. We were talking to Steve Meek, the head baseball coach over at Decatur Heritage, on Talking Ball as they get ready for their finals matchup. So, we've got a lot of good talent around here in North Alabama.
Because it's the number one place to live in the entire country.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying here. I'm just still reading this thing. All right, coming up, Josh Ward will join us. We'll talk some college football with him. Get his take on the mess that is NIL and where we can go with it in terms of trying to get it tightened up. And we also have a fun Tuesday top 10 for you as well, in honor of Ric Flair getting back in the ring at age 73. We'll talk about all of that in hour number 2 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crown.
Swung on, hit high and deep to center. That ball is gone! Home run!
Tonight, don't miss Atlanta Braves baseball from American Family Field in Milwaukee as the Braves face off against Andrew McCutchen and the Brewers. Braves radio's on the air at 6:25 Eastern, 5:25 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama A&M University football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com and view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see ya in the Kia. Go Bulldogs!
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Celtics hoping to have guard Marcus Smart in the lineup when they visit the Heat in Game 1 of the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals tonight. The NBA Defensive Player of the Year questionable with a mid-foot sprain. Sources told ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski the MRI on Smart's foot came back clean, and he'll test the foot today. Miami guard Kyle Lowry remains out with a lingering hamstring injury. Coverage of Game 1 tips off with the NBA Draft Lottery, 8 Eastern, ESPN Radio and ESPN TV. NHL, the Maple Leafs confirmed star forward Mitch Marner was the victim of a carjacking last night in Toronto. According to police, suspects took a black Range Rover at gunpoint. The Maple Leafs said Marner will have no additional comment on the matter as police continue to investigate the carjacking, which happened 2 nights after the Leafs were eliminated in Game 7 of their first-round playoff series by Tampa Bay.
And 7 ESPN, and listen to my show every weekday right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog. Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. Guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog!
Now live, here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 on a Top 10 Tuesday in the Doghouse. Glad that you are with us today. We will get to our Top 10 a little bit later on. But in the meantime, let's kick things off here by telling you first that Woody Anderson Ford brings you this segment. And at Woody Anderson Ford, it doesn't matter whether you have a Ford or not. The service department there is second to none. They can take care of your vehicle and keep it running great. Woody Anderson Ford, the service guys and gals are outstanding down there. When you go down there and you see it, it's just going to be something. All right, it's time now to talk to a guy that I've had great respect for a number of years now. Does a tremendous job up there at the Sports Animal in Knoxville. He is, of course, Josh Ward, and he's on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, welcome into the show. How are you?
Tom, doing great. Thanks for having me.
I just want you to know there's a code up on the screen right now. If people like this interview and they like you, they can click on that code, and then they can support you with financial contributions. Since you're up there in Tennessee, I guess that's the way it works now. You can just click on the thing, and it just starts sending money to the guest. I think that's the way it works.
I've had a name, image, likeness availability for quite some time. I predate. My eligibility is up years ago, Tom. So anybody wants to send me money, I've been accepting for quite some time now.
Our names are fine. We're seeing it come out of the woodwork because everybody that's associated with college football from a booster level or whatever level you want to look at this from, they're very inventive, and it seems like they have come up with all of these ways to circumvent so many things. And I thought when it started that the schools weren't going to be involved in any way, shape, and form in it other than maybe a little bit of guidance. And now we got at Tennessee due to the new law that the governor signed in up there that, what the heck, during the game, if you like a guy, you go ahead and just click on the code that pops up in the stadium, and you could go ahead and fill out an inquiry on how you could support that player.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy time, right? And I think everybody's wondering what's next in this because every day is a different layer, a different chapter in the story of name, image, likeness. And, look, for so long we had these conversations. Will players be able to make money? Will players be able to transfer and play right away? And there was this hold off for so long, and then all of a sudden it all happens at once. The transfer portal opens up with the ability to transfer and play right away at the same time, or almost the exact same time. The players are all of a sudden able to start making money off their name, image, likeness, which is part of the process. There are athletes that are, they're doing endorsements. They're doing things to make legitimate money. Part of it is they're getting money to go play at a school. I mean, that's what it is. Now, that was already happening. That was happening well before NIL rules changed. But I do think the price has gone way up because this market opens up and all of a sudden it becomes this open demand. And I think that will be corrected at some point, like everything else. But right now it's madness. And I think coaches are frustrated. I think administrators are frustrated. I think some players are frustrated. I think some players have kind of been squeezed out while others are making a ton of money and getting big opportunities if they are that level of talent. So it's everything almost literally at once, and it's a lot to keep up with. Now, part of the response to saying it's a lot to keep up with will be, well, head coaches and a lot of assistant coaches at the Power 5 level, they're making so much money they can deal with it, but it doesn't make those headaches feel any better.
Well, and it's a different world, too. Like in the NFL, the second or third highest paid position on the team is the left tackle because they understand the value of protecting the quarterback. In the world of NIL and collectives, you're dealing with people that are just starstruck by certain players that put up huge numbers in high school and so on. Nobody is rolling out that kind of dough, at least, for the left tackle, if you will. And it does, in a way, seem kind of unfair. It seems like too much is being driven towards guys who have star potential. And then that's the other thing. Potential is a key element to all of this thing. I mean, we get caught up in who that number 1 or number 2 or number 5 recruit is, and they're going to throw all this mad jack at this guy who's 18 years old, where somebody else that maybe's been in the program 3 years is busting a hump and is just as important to the program as anybody else, but nobody really notices him. You know what I mean? It creates there's a real unequalness, I guess, if you will, if that's even a word, to this whole process.
That is true, for sure. And, part of it is that players are going to know what other guys are being paid. I think you'll hear more talk about which is, I guess, ironic to say it that way, but about non-disclosure agreements that players are going to have to sign to keep word getting out as often as it probably has to this point on what players are being paid. Now, again, Players are still going to find out. They're still going to hear things, but more like they used to when players are getting paid when they weren't supposed to. So I think it'll be more of that. But I think that is part of what coaches are concerned with is managing the egos, players getting upset if somebody else comes in making a ton of money. I mean, if you want to come back to Tennessee, when Nico Iamaleava arrives from California, it has not been confirmed, but it is assumed by just about everybody that talks about the subject that he's the quarterback that's getting the $8 million deal. Well, his teammates are going to know that. They're going to know what he's making. And I'm not saying that will be a problem, but that is something that has to be managed within the locker room. So those are added layers to conversations that coaches now have to keep up with and fans are going to wonder about. So you have to have the right kind of culture. You have to have the right kind of leadership dynamic. Otherwise, more problems could be created from within.
Yeah, and I don't know how it doesn't create a problem. I mean, you're not talking about chump change. You're not talking about you got an endorsement deal with Milo's Tea here. We're talking $8 million if that is the case in Nico's case. But the other aspect of this seems to be how much money do these collectives and these boosters have to spread around? Is this not money that was always earmarked in the past for the athletic department itself? And you wonder whether or not we're paying Paul, we're robbing Paul to pay Peter, type of deal. I mean, at what point in time does it impact the rest of the athletic department because the money is being directed now to a few players?
I don't know. That's a good question. From what I understand to this point, Tennessee has not seen any kind of issue with what they're doing funding, and I think feel really good about how the last year has gone because the sports themselves are doing well. Yeah, that's part of it. You got to win. If you win, then I think you're going to see support for the athletic department. But think about what are you spending the money on? So the money that you're spending on facilities, how important is that? We hear so much about our prospects impressed by facilities. You got to have them. Don't get me wrong, but the splurging that we see on a slide or these pods in a locker room, frankly, it's silly. It's absurd. So the way some of the money has been spent. So maybe the athletic department, some of them could use a wake-up call of, hey, why don't you spend wisely instead of spending extravagantly as you have on some of these facilities and the way that they've spread things out within mainly the football department is what we're talking about here. So part of it is going to put a demand on the athletic directors. If you have a good athletic director and you have good administrators in place, because it's not just the AD, it's the people that he or she is going to hire, it puts pressure on them to make sure that they are managing correctly. But again, just back to the University of Tennessee here in Knoxville, where I am, I've not heard anything negative regarding funding and bringing money in. I think they feel really good about the way things are. If they don't win, then that could change, but that creates a separate problem.
Josh Ward with us from the Sports Animal in Knoxville talking about the NIL situation now. And of course, last week we saw the rattling of sabers from the NCAA, and it's almost comical. You hate it, but it's almost comical that the NCAA is saying, okay, now we're going to crack down on this. Now, the first thing y'all need to do is make sure that you're following the rules of your state. Well, duh. That's the problem here. Every state is different just about. I mean, Missouri just passed a new law, which is now going to allow them to do more directly with the players. And how do you determine a collective versus a booster? Of course collectives are boosters. There is no line anymore between boosters and players, it seems like. I mean, whatever the rule was to be, the rule is that there is no rule, it seems like.
Right. The first thing that you have to do is not be sloppy, which comes back to the old ways of doing things. Like an example, being on a FBI wiretap talking about an offer you made to a player. Do something like that, you get in trouble in the old rules. Today, if you have language in a contract that makes it clear from a recruiting standpoint, you end up at this school, you get the money, well, that's going to expose you to the NCAA to where it's easy for them to punish based on what their guidelines are and what they updated everyone on here the last couple of weeks. What I've wondered more so is, okay, let's say that they do try to crack down, whether it's looking back at what's happened over the last year or just now moving forward. The timing doesn't really matter. Who are they really going to punish? It may be that, hey, if this is about money, we'll start fining. Maybe you're going to have to – you want to come back to the athletic department or the AD, they're going to be really upset if the money they're managing gets hit, right? I mean, that's going to matter to an athletic department or to the coaches who are in charge. So that's the approach I would go. I think what they have to be careful of is trying to go after eligibility of players because of the way that these laws have been constructed. But that doesn't mean you can't find somebody for violating rules that you have set within your organization. So that's what I would be paying attention to. And then will that cause athletic directors to say to their coaches, hey, we need to be more buttoned up with how we're doing things. We can't allow this to be the wild, wild west. So we keep looking at the NCAA. Ultimately, it's going to be up to the conference commissioners, to the administrators, meaning presidents, chancellors, athletic directors, to say this is how we're going to do things. If you want things to be out of control, well, then it's going to continue to be that way. If you want to get things in order, I think, again, that there will be some kind of market correction, and that will help some of this conversation. But as long as we still have head coaches from Power 5 schools publicly griping, then it's going to be worse behind the scenes, which is going to continue to force pressure on these administrators to try to get things in order. But it's also not going to happen immediately. Like things are getting a little more out of control, it seems, day by day. It's going to take more time for everything to get back in order.
We've seen instances of players going to small schools getting big deals. We've seen it at Jackson State. We have seen it at TSU in Nashville, right, where the rapper's son got a big $2 million deal, to go play basketball at TSU, and he could have played in the SEC or at someplace else. So we have seen that in some instances, but mostly this is an issue that is dealt with not only at the Power 5 level, and when you include the free transfer, the transfer portal, it also is at the upper crust of the Power 5 level. I, like everybody else, thought that Dabo Swinney was out of his mind when he started talking about a 40 or 50 team breakaway. Now it almost seems like it's inevitable at some level or at some point that there's going to be some breakaway, and you've got the commissioner of the ACC questioning whether or not big-time college football even needs to be associated with the NCAA, because the NCAA is really about running championships, and they have no say over really what's going on in Division I college football. In our lifetime, and your lifetime will last more than my lifetime, but in our lifetime, do we see this breakaway? Do we see something separate happen, whether it's 70, 60, or even 50 schools breaking away and almost becoming like a professional college league?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance in football, and to me that makes a lot of sense, because the idea that University of Tennessee and Middle Tennessee operate under the same rules, or Tennessee State, or all these different schools, that to act like they're in the same world is lying to everybody. They just aren't. In no way, shape, or form have a chance to compete against one another, but often that's just for money too, right? You pay a school to come in and we'll play you. We should beat you, and then you go back home with your check. I mean, that's the way it works in college football. So let's not lie to ourselves about what this has all been about already, and that's money. So that's why I come back to the administrators and the conference commissioners. They're really going to be the ones, I think, that ultimately decide, figure out who the replacement is for Mark Emmert at the top of the NCAA. Do we really think the next person that's going to come in is just going to rule over the world of college football and tell everybody how things are going to be? Of course, that's not what's going to happen, nor should it, really, in my opinion. So, is there some kind of breakaway in some way? I would say yes, in that things will look very different, 10 years, 20 years from now than they did 30, 40, 50 years before. We also probably should have expected that was going to happen, because it was inevitable that someday athletes were going to be able to make money, and there would be more opportunity for athletes. At some point down the line, we might be talking about athletes signing actual contracts with the schools, because if you want to fix the players jumping and going somewhere else very quickly, well, contracts are the way that you do that. There can still be out like coaches have, and we see coaches jump and go from one school to the next on an annual basis, but they do often face some kind of price to be able to do that, which makes it less likely that they're just going to jump every single time. If you're trying to find a way to keep players in-house, Jordan Addison at Pitt is the highest profile example probably this offseason, or at least recently, then having something that ties them to the school, because until you do, and there's a way to go get more somewhere else, you're going to
us here. And so finally, let me shift gears for a moment here and get your thoughts. What constitutes a great season for Tennessee baseball? Is this all about Omaha or bust, or is this about national championship or bust? They've been so dynamic and so dominant in the world of college. Anything short of a national championship considered.
So my co-host in Knoxville, Jason Swain, he played wide receiver at Tennessee in the mid-2000s. So when Tennessee's expectations in football were the highest, he signed at Tennessee when the Vols were expecting to go compete for SEC national championships every season. And he said on our show, it's national championship or bust for Tennessee. Now, I don't share the same level of opinion there, but this is a Tennessee baseball team that has cruised to an outright SEC title in the conference that is widely accepted as the best in baseball. It is a team that is now being compared to the best teams of all time, and it's a team that has talked some trash. They love to celebrate on the field, and that has drawn a lot of attention to the team. My opinion is not that if they fall short of a national championship, then the season is a bust, because they do have an outright SEC title for the first time since '95. It's been 27 years since it happened for Tennessee. If they get to Omaha, I think you have to do that to keep from saying that it was a failure. They lose at home in the regional or super regional, then that would be a failure. But if you get to Omaha and you win some games and you fall short, you fall short. The thing that Tennessee has done is it's played so well, and it's put itself in a position where it has a chance to, at the end, be compared to some of the all-time greats. But, Tom, you can't be compared to the all-time greats unless you have the championship like they do. So if Tennessee falls short of a national championship, in the moment it'll be very disappointing, and it will keep Tennessee from being in select company because it will have earned it if it wins it all. If it falls short, they're going to be laughed at, and a lot of people are going to be pulling against them along the way. But my opinion is get to Omaha. Definitely if you get to the final and you just lose 2 of 3, hey, that's baseball. But you need to be close to it because Tennessee internally has, I think, set itself up for that kind of expectation.
It's been a fun year watching them play, that's for sure. Josh Ward has been our guest. Josh, I appreciate you so much. We will see you in Atlanta in about 8 short weeks, man. It'll be on like Donkey Kong back in Atlanta all over again.
Yeah, we're getting close. Maybe by then we'll be able to talk some football because right now it's the NIL world, but we'll get back to football sometime soon.
Yeah, and the two are so interconnected, it's hard not to get into that, that's for sure. All right, man, I appreciate you.
You got it. Thanks, Tom.
Josh Ward, that guy is tight, man. He is really good. He's not just a Tennessee guy either. You can talk anything in the SEC with him, and I've been doing that for well over 10 years with him anyway. All right, let's get a break, and we'll come back. We'll open up the phone lines the rest of the way, plus we got our Tuesday Top 10. It's all coming up next right here on the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight. The Celtics, a 1.5-point underdog at the Heat. The over-under set at 204. Tomorrow night, Game 1 in the West. The Mavericks +5 at the Warriors, 214.5 the set total. Round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs underway tonight. The Lightning at the Panthers in the East. Tampa Bay +140 money line. Florida -160, 6.5 the total. In the West, the Blues at +180 at the Avalanche at -220. The over-under at 6.5. Kentucky Derby winner Rich Strike will not compete in this weekend's Preakness Stakes, meaning there will be no Triple Crown winner this year. Epicenter, the +125 favorite at Pimlico. Early voting +350 and Secret Oath +400.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crown.
Swung on, hit high and deep to center. That ball is gone! Home run!
Tonight, don't miss Atlanta Braves baseball from American Family Field in Milwaukee as the Braves face off against Andrew McCutchen and the Brewers. Braves radio's on the air at 6:25 Eastern, 5:25 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
Dirty exterior? Don't scrub it. Wet it and forget it. Wet and Forget, the easy outdoor cleaner. Wet and Forget works over time with Mother Nature to eliminate unsightly black and green stains on the exterior of your home with no scrubbing, power washing, or bleach. Use Wet and Forget on all your outdoor surfaces, including decks, siding, roofs, and patios. Wet and Forget's available in a concentrate or extreme reach hose-in. Purchase Wet and Forget in store or online at Lowe's, Menards, Ace, or Walmart.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us? We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Tuesday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Did you know that your car, truck, or SUV may be worth over 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we'd love your trade-in for a personalized custom factory order on a 2022 Explorer, Expedition, Ranger, or F-150. You'll get exactly the color and options you want, and Woody Anderson Ford will save you 5% off MSRP, plus you'll get any additional Ford factory rebates. Or if you need a new ride today, choose a Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicle. We have over 100 to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with our 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. At Woody Anderson Ford, whether it's a new order or a pre-owned, we promise to always do the right thing. Corner of George and Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us, too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon really is going to be a fantastic day. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-80s, dropping into the upper 50s and lower 60s as we head into the overnight. An isolated shower is going to be possible on Wednesday. I don't want you to put too much thought into that. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. Partly sunny sky. Temperatures hanging out in the upper 80s and lower 90s, dropping into the upper 60s as we head into the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the fine folks at North Alabama Mortgage. Buying a house is more competitive than ever, especially in the number one city in all of America. The best place to live, according to U.S. News World Report, the Huntsville area, or really Tennessee or in Florida. There's a few cities from Florida, 3 or 4 cities from Florida that were in that list. Nashville was also on that list at number 25 as well. So if you're buying in any of those areas, you need North Alabama Mortgage to help you get your offer accepted. Just go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com, learn more about that. Talk to Brian Hammaker or any of his fine team. They're going to treat you like family and make sure that you get into the product that you need, whether it's a conventional VA, FHA, or USDA loan. North Alabama Mortgage will get it done for you. Well, it's Tuesday, and you know what Tuesday means in the doghouse.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's the Tuesday Top 10.
All right, phone lines are open if you want to contribute to this. You can do it at 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. That will get you in. In honor of Ric Flair climbing into the ring in July at age 73. Woo! It's time to list 10 other athletes that, quite honestly, looked ridiculous at the end of their career. I mean, look, I love Nate as much as the next guy, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. When I say I love Nate as much as the next guy, I really did not like him when he was at his height. I was not a Nate guy when he was at his height. I like him, the dude, more than I did him, the character or the wrestler. I was a Paul Orndorff guy when it came to those guys. I was Mr. Wonderful. I mean, that's the guy I liked. I liked more of a Paul Orndorff type guy. I was more, during the Monday Night Wars, I was more into the WCW than I was the WWF at the time. I was more of a Goldberg guy. You know what I mean? NWO type guy. I liked Nash. I liked Razor Ramon. Ayo. Remember Razor Ramon with the toothpick? Ayo. I think he's dead. I think he just died not too long ago. Am I lying, Grizz? I think he took the dirt nap. Yeah.
Not 2 months ago, I believe.
I liked the British Bulldogs, mostly because I had a bulldog. But I liked the British Bulldogs and those guys, who I think one or both are dead. I liked Big Papa Pump, who was a Steiner, it was him or his brother or both of them were wrestlers at Michigan. They were actual, regular wrestlers at Michigan. Mostly, though, I liked Goldberg. And when I was a kid, I liked Jimmy Superfly Snuka, who ended up not being a very good person. I think he ended up being a bad man. But as a kid, there was nothing cooler than Jimmy Superfly Snuka flying off of that top rope. I was a Macho Man guy. I liked the Macho Man. Yeah. I was not into Undertaker and Kane.
Bonesaw's ready. No, I'm sorry, I couldn't do that good enough. You have to watch Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do it good enough. I have to smoke a lot of cigarettes to get better at it.
And no one was better with a mic in their hand. I mean, no one was better than The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
As a
performer, yeah.
Yeah. In the history of the sport, in my opinion.
And Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those two together probably were... that was like my whole childhood. The Attitude Era was a problem for me.
I liked Austin. Liked Austin okay.
Yeah.
But number two...
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Yes.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
The Maniac.
No, that was Roddy Piper.
Yeah, no, you have to see the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He made made 2 cameos in the show as the Maniac, and it's absolutely hilarious. I love Roddy Piper.
Yeah. I mean,
Long
Austin,
live, rest in peace.
Austin was good.
I'm going to go ahead and bottom line this interview because I ain't got a whole lot of time. I got a man's ass to whip.
He was good, but the best of all of them.
Eat your vitamin, say your prayers, and stick it straight up all your candy asses.
I mean, that dude there.
What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
The absolute best.
Yep.
The absolute best. And if you go old school, I'll be honest with you, just for pure hilarity,
Stables?
Yeah, I'm looking for a horseman.
A horseman?
A horseman goes by the name of Rick.
Not here.
Are you a horseman?
I could be. What can I do for you?
Friday night, you can see me at War Game. Bring all your horsemen, because I will have Moondog Spot, Moondog Rex, and the Monkey Brother. Yeah, I'm looking for a horseman goes by the name of Rick Flair.
Don't know him.
Can I leave a message?
I guess.
All right, write this down. Tell him it's Big Dust.
Okay.
The American Dream.
Okay.
Tell him to meet me Friday night, Starcade.
Meet you at the Stockade.
Yeah, Starcade, Friday night.
I don't know what you're wasting your time for.
Is this Baby Doll? Baby Doll, I know that was you Jezebel! Hello, I'm looking for some horsemen.
I've got plenty. How many you need?
4
horsemen.
Yes, sir. This Big Dust calling on behalf of Crocker Promotions.
Can't hardly understand what you're saying, but...
Sorry, I got a little bit of a lisp. What about Chris Benoit? Oh, he did. Sorry.
No, I don't really know what you're talking about.
Is this J.J. Dillon's?
No.
Don't lie to me, J.J. You and I go way back, Jack.
Well, it ain't J.J. You got the wrong person.
Don't mess with the American dream, J.J. My eyes are open as big as silver dollars, Jack.
Well, you got the wrong guy.
You and I, J.J., let us strap now. Justin Rhodes is the master of the strap now. J.J. Dillon, you a yellow dog.
You're a yellow dog. J.J. Dillon. You're a yellow dog.
That's like the John Cena phone call before the John Cena phone call. My goodness, that is great. That is always going to be great.
That's always going to be great. It's always going to be great. So having said that, it's just, seeing Ric Flair, I don't know. Maybe I'll feel differently about it. He's like 13 years older than me.
You'll feel differently about it until you actually see the man get slammed and see how long it takes him to get up.
I'm hearing that there's might not be any contact. You're saying that you have seen 73-year-old. You're not looking at old film.
No.
It's just like current 73-year-old Ric Flair getting slammed.
I'm sure I'll get ridiculed. Jay Lethal or whatever the guy's name is, the other guy that likes to do the woos, and he's like basically does the same thing as Ric Flair. Yeah. He was slamming him a couple of times down on the mat, and it was old man Ric Flair getting thrown around, and some of those slams did not look. It looked like it took him a minute to get up.
That's
and then he was like, you know how he used to do the real jabs into a guy and everything like that iconic, beating him up and stuff. Yeah, those jabs aren't as fast as they used to.
No,
be.
I wouldn't have meant the chop. He'd give it a little. He'd do a little chop to the neck. So what I did was I compiled a list of other athletes, and again, my take on wrestling is it's not sport. Obviously, it's entertainment. But they are athletes, just like stuntmen are athletes in the movies. It's not sport, but they are athletes. So they are athletes. So I compiled a list of other people that I thought looked absolutely ridiculous at the end of their career. And I start with Johnny Unitas as a Charger. Johnny Unitas as a San Diego Charger.
Yeah.
Was the most weird-looking thing. He only played a few games as a Charger. His jersey didn't even look right. The 1 and the 9 were, like, way spread apart. If you ever look at, like, Johnny Unitas as a Charger, the 1 is, like, under his armpit. And the 9 is under the other armpit. It's like ridiculous. It just looked bad.
Almost like Drew Brees as a Charger.
It was bad. No, Drew Brees as a Charger made sense at least. He was a single-digit guy just tonight.
People nowadays, when they see it, though.
That was at the beginning of his career.
Yeah,
you know? Michael Jordan in the Wizards uniform.
Yeah.
It just was not. And I know he had a few good games and
stuff. Juicy!
Yes. He wore a Wizards uniform. It was not a pretty sight to see. Joe Namath as a Ram. Joe Namath at the end of his career.
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Looked awful in Ram gear. You know what he looked like? He looked like 73-year-old Ric Flair climbing through the ropes. I don't know if a lot of people remember this. O.J. Simpson as a 49er. O.J. Simpson finished his career. Remember, he's from San Francisco. He always wanted to be a 49er. His last year, he played for the 49ers. It looked dumb. Jerry Rice as a Seahawk. Not Jerry Rice as a Raider. Because the Autumn Wind is a Raider, and so was Jerry Rice for a minute. Jerry Rice as a Raider was okay. Yeah. But by the time Jerry Rice got to the Seahawks, I mean, it just looked stupid. How about Franco Harris as a Seahawk?
Yeah, that was weird.
I mean, that's a bad one. Franco Harris with the Seahawks. Willie Mays with the Mets. Now, remember, Willie Mays started his career with the New York Giants. He wore the interlocking NY of the New York Giants. So it made some sense for him to be wearing the interlocking NY, but it looked weird in a Mets uniform. I mean, in the Mets pinstripes. I mean, it was painful to watch. I was just a kid. It was painful to watch him stumbling around out there. And Grizz, you know why the Mets colors are orange and blue, right?
I could care less. But why?
The Mets colors are orange and blue because the Dodgers and the Giants moved to California at the same time.
That makes sense.
And when they brought New York back to the National League, they took the orange of the Dodgers and the blue of the orange of the Giants and the blue of the Dodgers and made them orange and blue.
I still hate them. Still hate the Mets.
That's okay. I mean, you can hate a team and know, why did the Bengals wear orange and black? Why were the Bengals uniforms orange and black? And their sleeves, very much the same as the Browns back when they first became the Bengals. Well, because the founder of the Bengals was Paul Brown, who also was the founder of the Cleveland Browns. And his time with the Browns, he was the head coach of the Browns, and he's the one that came up with the color scheme and everything else. Yeah. But he was never the owner of the Browns. People think that Paul Brown was the owner of the Browns. He wasn't. He was the owner of the Bengals. So when in 1963, Paul Brown, 1962 was Paul Brown's last year with the Browns. He's fired by Art Modell. And 4 years later, 1966, he founds the Cincinnati Bengals of the AFL and puts him in as close to Cleveland Brown gear as possible. Instead of orange and brown, they were orange and black. Same orange helmet, just said Bengals on the side. Same type of sleeve stripes on the sleeve. That's why that's why, so there's these things, there's these reasons why. A lot of young people don't know why are the Lakers the LA Lakers. Doesn't make any sense. There are virtually no lakes.
Right.
But why are they the LA Lakers? Because they were
me?
I'm asking you.
Oh, Minnesota,
Minneapolis.
Or
Lakers,
Minneapolis, yeah.
They were the Minneapolis Lakers.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So, so that's there's millions of stories like that.
Right.
The Utah Jazz. So many people don't know. What is jazzy about Utah? You been to Utah? There's no jazz in Utah. Why are they the Utah Jazz? Because they were the New Orleans Jazz.
Right.
Originally. And New Orleans should have that name. Instead of being a stupid bird, pelican, New Orleans should be the New Orleans Jazz. And Utah should be something else, like the Utah, pasty white people or something. Or the Utah Mormons or whatever, the Utah ski slopes or something. They shouldn't be the Jazz. All right, back to our list.
Yeah.
So Willie Mays as a Met. Do you remember Patrick Ewing with the Orlando Magic?
Yes, that was disgusting.
Oh, that was disgusting.
That was bad. That was really, really bad.
That was a bad one.
Just a bad look.
That was terrible. How about Shaq as a Celtic or a Cav? I mean,
and a Sun. The Heat.
When he was
he won it with the Heat.
Yeah, the Heat. No, the Heat's fine. I mean, you won with the Heat.
Yeah.
He took Dwayne Wade on his shoulders and he won. I think he was the MVP of the finals with the Heat.
But still, it's just like he was the other color of the rainbow.
It made sense there. The Magic's where he started, the Lakers, the Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could loop the Suns in maybe with the Suns, the Celtics, and the Cavs all together. It was a bad look. Tony Dorsett as a Bronco. Tony Dorsett finished his career as a Denver Bronco. That looks strange. I'll tell you another one. Here's a bonus one. Emmitt Smith as a Cardinal.
Yeah. Ugh.
Remember Emmitt Smith as an Arizona Cardinal? And he had a decent year. He had like 900 yards plus. Now, some people would put LaDainian Tomlinson with the Jets.
Ugh.
More current.
Yeah, well, with the weird,
LaDainian Tomlinson with the Jets was like totally washed up? He wasn't 73. You know what I mean? Was he totally washed up at that point? LaDainian Tomlinson? I didn't think he was necessarily.
I don't think he was washed by the time. Yeah, especially the Jets. It was still LT. I mean, he was still a good player, yeah.
Now, let me get Smokey Mike in here.
He's gone.
Is he gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had one.
All right, go ahead.
Ken Griffey Jr. with the White Sox.
Ken Griffey Jr., not with the Reds, with the White Sox. Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, not with the Reds.
Not with the
White
Reds.
Sox.
It was fine because didn't he go from the
Reds,
the Reds back to Seattle?
No, he went to the Reds,
White Sox?
Reds, White Sox, and then Seattle.
So he went to the White Sox for a minute.
Yeah. Or my favorite Atlanta Brave, or one of my favorite Atlanta Braves, Andrew Jones, finishing up in Korea.
That's really bad.
Or what was it with Texas?
He played with the Yankees.
And the Yankees, yeah, the 2 years he was with the Yankees. Those are and that was just.
Here's one a lot of
even
people.
The Dodgers was just weird to me.
Here's one that only puckheads would know. Okay, but Chris Chelios was a great Detroit Red Wing and Chicago Blackhawk. Right, he played for two iconic original six teams. Chris Chelios finished his career as an Atlanta Thrasher.
I actually didn't know that. That's hilarious.
48 years old. He was 48 years old. He wore a Thrashers. I mean, he played for Montreal, Chicago, and Detroit, and finished with the Atlanta Thrashers.
What about Gordie Howe? That would 69 years old playing for an IHL team.
Yeah, just so he could play once in every decade. I mean, 5 straight decades he played once. I'll tell you what. Here's one that'll hit you where you live. It's too long. I mean, this is 73-year-old Ric Flair. Vince Carter with the Hawks.
Yeah.
Remember the Vinsanity with the Atlanta Hawks?
Which was crazy is when COVID happened, I wish he had re-signed for one more year.
Yeah.
Because I would have, I was really bummed on that. He finished his season because of COVID. And I wish he had came back that following season, but he didn't. But he's on the broadcast team now, so it's really good.
Now, I want to say that this looked bad, but as bad as it looked, he really played well, is Brett Favre as a Viking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess we could talk about Brett Favre as a Jet. That would be the weird one. That would be the
that was where he went first, right?
Yeah.
And then he comes over to the, to go, who is Ric Flair going to
pathetic performance.
No. That would be bad. Let's see. Do we got any other ones? So Favre as a Viking. He took him to the NFC Championship game. They were right on the edge of going to the Super. He had 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions when he was 40 years old with Minnesota.
So you said unite us with the Rams.
I said name it with the Rams.
Oh, okay.
I said unite us with the Chargers. Name it with the Rams.
Okay, I never heard the name it with the Rams. Yeah, I would have said that
name
one.
it with the Rams was my
weird.
third one. After MJ with the Chris Webber with the Warriors at the end of his career.
Yeah.
Ricky Henderson as a Dodger.
What about Yogi Berra as a Met?
Yeah, that looked weird. I mean, I wasn't alive then. I saw him as a manager.
Right.
Martin Brodeur as the goaltender for the St. Louis Blues after all those years with the Devil. How about Deion Sanders as with the Ravens? And he wore his age, number 37. How about Deion? All right. That's all I got on my top 10. Those are the only ones that I could give you.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the Tuesday Top 10.
Let's grab a break.
Oh, I had one more.
You got one?
Wade Boggs as a Devil Ray.
Wade Boggs.
Because, I mean, you know him as the iconic.
Devil Ray. That's post-Yankees, right? He doesn't go... He goes Red Sox, Yankees, Rays.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
And then, like, a newer one would be, like, Dwayne Wade with the Bulls. Because, like, obviously...
God, I forgot that D-Wade went home.
Because he went home, yeah.
He went home and played
and
with
wasn't
the
he a
Bulls.
Cav? He was a Cav.
That.
He was a Cav for, like...
Was D-Wade a Cav?
For, like, a week or something. I'm pretty sure.
Was he? I think everybody ends up playing for the Cavs at some particular point.
Because they all got traded from LeBron. It's like, I need this guy. Come on over.
I think everybody, at some point in time, they all end up a Cleveland Cavalier. All right, so there you go. That's all we got.
Yeah, he was a Cav for, season.
A whole season?
17 to 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, 256-576-4977 if you want to help us end the show with any of them. We'll come back with a final segment next right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Outdoor season is coming. Can't wait.
Here at Brooks & Collier, neither can we. Outdoor season is also grilling season.
And we have plenty of grills and smokers in stock. From Traeger, Blaze, and Big Green Egg.
There's the greenhouse. New indoor items and home furnishings as well.
Whatever it takes. Browse over 2 acres of furnishings. Can't wait.
How about you? North Alabama's indoor and outdoor living headquarters for over 75 years.
813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
With a new face at first and some of the best arms in the National League, this 2022 Braves team is loaded up for another run at the crown.
Swung on, hit high and deep to center. That ball is gone! Home run!
tonight. Don't miss Atlanta Braves baseball from American Family Field in Milwaukee as the Braves face off against Andrew McCutchen and the Brewers. Braves radio's on the air at 6:25 Eastern, 5:25 Central on the Braves Radio Network.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon really is going to be a fantastic day. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-80s, dropping into the upper 50s and lower 60s as we head into the overnight. An isolated shower is going to be possible on Wednesday. I don't want you to put too much thought into that. Most of us probably going to end up staying dry. Partly sunny sky. Temperatures hanging out in the upper 80s and lower 90s, dropping into the upper 60s as we head into the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Segment of this show is brought to you by TOC, the Orthopedic Center for Ric Flair. When he throws something out, climbing through the ropes. He'll need TOC. Doesn't matter how you get hurt. Could be an athletic endeavor. It could be work. It could be you're just getting old. It could be you're climbing through the ropes at age, 73, whatever it is. Putting your robe on. Flair could get hurt putting his robe on. You don't know what's going to happen. I hope Conrad Thompson's not listening to this show. He'd be so pissed off at me. Look, I love Ric Flair. I'm just saying, 73 years old. Come on. All right, let me get Smokey Mike in here. Smokey Mike, what's going on?
You're talking pro wrestling. I got to call in. You know this.
Yeah, you do.
But, actually, from hearing the rumors of what's been going on, and actually, if anybody was listening Saturday morning to Smokey in the chat, we actually discussed this already. But apparently it's a six-man tag match that he's going to be in.
So that's even worse. So he's going to do something other than just walk in and he's actually going to physically do something.
Well, it's going to be him and FTR against the old guys known as the Rock and Roll Express and somebody else. I don't know who off the top of my head.
Who's STR?
FTR is Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler, who happen to wrestle in AEW. They're
so this is
the Ring of Honor tag team.
Oh, okay. All right.
But, yeah, that's not going to be too bad. I think it's going to be pretty good. And with it being up in Nashville with Conrad's actual thing that he's got going on with StarCast on SummerSlam weekend, it's going to be a spectacle. Let's just put it that way.
It will be a spectacle. That's for sure. It'll be people will be watching it hoping that the guy doesn't get hurt. It'd be like watching a car accident. You just don't want to look away.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, old man Ricky Moore can still keep on going. So, it's going to be quite interesting. Let me just put it that way. But this is for the Rock and Roll Express farewell tour.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be like Tony Dorsett as a Denver Bronco. That's what I think it's going to look like.
It could be that way. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, Big Dog, I just wanted to chime in. So, I'll see you here in a little bit.
All right. Appreciate you. As we go out, did you see that Nestor Cortez, who was out of his mind, he's got like a 1.39 ERA, that he had to delete his Twitter account because somebody retweeted a tweet that he made when he was 16 or 17 years old.
Yeah.
It's like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Where he was tweeting rap lyrics.
Right.
And the N-word was in the rap lyrics. And he didn't even know it was still out there. Somebody retweeted it, and he was horrified. And so he went ahead and closed his Twitter account altogether. This is this is what we're gonna cancel somebody over.
When does it stop? When does it end? When is it when are they just done with just you know what, you can't cancel everything?
Apparently they can.
You're trying to.
I have spent a lot of time over the years telling my kids when they were at that age, be careful what you're putting out there on YouTube, on the Twitter, whatever, because you never know when you're going to be running for office or you're going to be a pitcher for the New York Yankees or something, and it's going to come back and bite you in the butt. Don't do that. Just don't do it. Coming up next, the Chuck Oliver Show.
And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this